Great. So it's fantastic to be here. I'm quite impressed by the conference. I usually go to crypto conferences, and I know that we are in a bear market, but I have to say that the game industry is quite impressive. So my name is Stefania, and I come from, as I said, the crypto space. That's why we are going to be talking about blockchain and games. I'm going to make this presentation very interactive. It's not really going to be a presentation. It's going to be more a chat. So a bit about myself. I founded a PR marketing company, work in financial market and crypto. I'm an influencer, so I've got a YouTube channel where I interview different kind of blockchain and crypto projects. And at some point, with everything happening in Web3, you see all the brands getting into games and stuff like that. So I start to interview as well game project like the Sandbox, and I had Robbie Young from Animoca brand on the channel as well. And then I got, with 4 other people, we started a company last year called Gamebridge. And the idea is build a piece of infrastructure that game developer can use to monetize, make money out of the game. And that's what we are going to be talking today. So how do you make money as a game developer? How many of you are a game developer? Okay, brilliant. So this is going to be exciting. Now, interesting question. And I want to know what you think about it. If I say NFT, what are you going to say? Somebody want to venture? Because I know there is a debate, and I had it also when I was interviewing people on my channel. Okay, somebody there.
Well, I would say true ownership of your assets on the blockchain would be my take on that.
Exactly.
Not just pictures.
Yes.
The actual assets. And
yes. 100% ownership. You just got you right there. Anybody else that is against NFT and say, no, we are in game, we don't like NFT? Okay, that's good. I was actually expecting much more because I have people like that, you know. Anyway, so how do you make money as a game? Downloads, obviously sell, subscription, in-game upgrade or advertising. So these are all ways that you can make money. Now, what about crypto and NFTs? As you said, ownership. So crypto has been bringing another layer for everybody to make money because obviously you own your assets. Why not making money out of it? And that's what the point of Gamebridge is. Want to help games to monetize their game in a different way. What else I can ask you? Anybody has got a question before I dive a little bit more in what we do?
Right, you're probably going to go into this, but obviously, are you Gamebridge being like a layer over a blockchain or middleware? Where do you sit as a tech company?
Okay, so let me just... So Gamebridge is a multiplayer game protocol that connects different games to the world of crypto. So what we are basically developing, we are developing an API that allow games to monetize the assets, basically the player build within the game. So we are kind of putting ourselves at the intersection between Web 2 and Web 3. So there are games, they don't have anything to do with crypto, but obviously crypto offers them another way to make money. And then there are some other games which are more Web3 natives, but they don't have the infrastructure that allows the NFT basically to happen. So it's basically an API that we are developing. And how we are developing, so we got together end of last year, and my other 3 co-founders, they've been in the gaming industry forever. So actually one of them he put the name massively in massively multiplayer games. So they are all like people very experienced in the gaming space. I'm the crypto girl, you know. We started to talk about, right, infrastructure is a big thing. It's a big thing in crypto, and it's a big thing everywhere. It's a big thing in gaming as well, because technology is kind of changing everything. So infrastructure get most of the investment. So I work a lot with VC. I host events in London with policymaker and VC and founders, and you know, all the money are going into infrastructure. So even the gaming space has to think about, if we want to capture and we want to innovate, we want to capture more revenue, we need to think about infrastructure. And that's why we came out with the idea of Gamebridge. So as a team, we have developed a cross-chain bridge that still help people to move assets, so to move tokens across different blockchains. So we have got experience in that. And it's a product called Umbria Network that is out there, has been live since 2021, and is generating revenue through the protocol. And we thought, why we can't really do something for games? So I think here it shows you really how it works. I mean, as a player, you spend lots of time, lots of effort, a lot of money to build your team, for example, or to level up your player. And then you don't, you know, everything stays in the game. So, and I know the fun is all in the game, but how about you have the opportunity basically to sell your team, your assets, and actually make money for it. And the game can make money as well. But there were some obviously friction, because if you are on Apple, for example, Apple Play, you don't want to get crypto involved, because we know that, you know, when you come with the NFTs, you know, some of the places like Apple Pay, the Apple Game, they can be quite funny. So Apple Store doesn't like crypto, so we just keep the two things separate. So if you are a game that doesn't have anything to do with crypto, we are not asking you to incorporate crypto. We come in as an API, but you can just keep the two things very separate. So it's kind of like a payment infrastructure, basically. Allow players to export their digital object and via the API platform and monetize on that. So yeah, I think that's basically the idea. It's kind of very simple. So you can sell your NFT, you can export your team. I'm going to just take the like a game as an example. You build up your team, and then you're going to be able basically to sell your team, export your team as an asset through our API. That will be converted as an NFT. It will go in the partner NFT store that we use. Somebody else buy the team, re-importing into the game. At that time will become again an asset. The in-game assets is not an NFT in the game, and then you can play with your assets. So, and then obviously we make money through the API, and the game make money through the API, and the player make money from selling his NFT. Question? Okay.
Sorry, it might be me for all the questions.
No, please.
So you mentioned the API being also a bridge between different chains as well. Which chains do you support at the minute?
No. So I think the concept is the interoperability is very interesting, but the stage that we are developing Spin Cricket, which is proof of concept. So which will go in beta in a couple of weeks. So we said, right, how we are going to tell other games that we are making money, rather than going out and telling, oh, we are doing this, try and make money. We are actually doing ourselves. So we have been building, since December, we have been building a cricket game. There are not many cricket games, so hopefully it's going to be exciting. And we will show everybody how we make money. And then, you know, we are going to make the API available for other games if they want to use it to make money that way. I mean, I was talking to some game upstairs, game developer, and they were telling me, everybody wants to be publisher. So I think publishers are quite in high demand right now. So if you have a mobile game, maybe you don't need a publisher. You can maybe try to monetize it yourself. I mean, this is all the point about crypto, is like why we need to go through all these intermediaries, the same things in the digital asset space. And I know sometimes you don't have the resources, sometimes, you know, you need, in order to scale, you might need to partner with somebody, but it can be going through these people, sometimes you get screwed, right? And that's kind of like the bad things of the gaming industry, like many other industries, even the financial market. I think what blockchain gave us is really the opportunity of a monetization that is powering creator economy, is powering game creator as well, game artists, without getting other people to make a markup on your product. So that's what I'm hoping basically to hear and get in touch with as many game developers. They are building a game and they want to make money. I don't have anything against publisher. I think, you know, they are great. Maybe we should partner with publishers. But I think there is an opportunity to kind of like integrate blockchain and get another level of monetization within your project. So in terms of like with blockchain, we are going to be supporting. So we have been in discussion with Binance, with Polygon, with different, I mean, I have a strong connection with Cardano as well. We have been talking to them as well. So ideally, we would like to be multi-chain, but more likely we are going to start with a chain, probably Polygon, but maybe Binance as well. And then, yeah, and that way, then obviously, you know, EVM is compatible anyway, so it's easy. With Umbria Network, for example, is an EVM, is a bridge across different blockchain, and we cover all the EVM chain, from Binance Chain, Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, Phantom. So that's like the easier integration. And, you know, now with Bitcoin going to ordinance as well, at some point, we might be able even to, you know, to even go to Bitcoin, which brings another discussion. But yeah, I think the goal is really interoperability. But see, interoperability is interesting because I was having a discussion with the founder of Sandbox about it. So in order to have assets interoperability, different assets has a different function within a metaverse, within a game. So in order to have assets interoperability, you need to have an agreement between two games that skin can have an equivalent value within the two games, or you know, kind of like a function. So I think interoperability in games, it does really depend on an agreement, on a standard that is created between games, because, you know, it might be one skin that you use in one game or one weapon, it won't be the same in another game. So it kind of need to have like an agreement between the two games. But yeah, that's kind of like where we are.
Yeah, no, that's you touched on an interesting point in terms of compatibility of assets between platforms and games. You know, some people might want to export something from a 3D game, but make it available in a 2D game. So it's having that agreement, like you say, of how does this asset look in this game or on that platform. That's the tricky part.
Yeah, because I think everybody's talking about interoperability, and it's a great word, and but there are challenges there, because how you can make one asset interoperable between two metaverses even. I mean, what's the value? So one asset's got one value in one game, but doesn't have the same value in the other game. So I think that is all the point about standard, right? Even in crypto, there are no standard yet. So digital identity is another big topic where you kind of need standard. But there are opportunities to monetize assets. And that's, you know, so we are kind of trying, okay, there is not much here about the spin cricket, but the spin cricket is the proof concept that we are using to show everybody how we are making money. And that's what we are developing. Is going to be ready for beta. So if you are interested, reach out to me and I will put you on the beta test, and then you can see basically how we will work. And And it just give game developer another opportunity really to make money rather than just relying on a publisher, and hopefully create also something more interesting, because it's an industry that is evolving quite fast. And I think blockchain can be a really interesting and valuable asset. So when I talk to like people in the gaming industry, they're telling me, oh no, NFT, we don't want to hear about it because it's all against the concept of actually you are spending so much energy in the game, and the fun is all about leveling up your character, and then what about you can just sell it and somebody doesn't have a clue, he buys for nothing. Not for nothing, but he buys without any effort. And some people don't really like that. And I had a conversation on that. But games are becoming now part of the digital economy. And I think that's interesting, is that gaming or games, then there are even controversy on which is the right word to use. They are not just an industry that is completely different from real money now. Now that the metaverse can open more doors, games become part of the digital economy. And I was advising Cardano on business development, and we were having different discussions with brands like Nike, for example, brands like Prada, brands like Burberry, and they are all now into the gaming space. I mean, they are trying to do some kind of gaming experience because that is what basically captured the new generation. So I see game now part of the digital economy and the real world of money. And I think we need to start to kind of cut down intermediary.
Hi, me again.
Yeah, sure.
Just talking about monetization within games and games. What do you think about Square Enix's foray into NFTs with Final Fantasy?
With NFT
Square Enix offer NFTs with some of their physical purchases of. Okay,
so digital, basically. That's interesting. I think NFT, they were a big bubble starting 2020, and then 2021 is kind of the boom. And one of the things that was missing was really the utility. So an NFT is basically a key that allow you access to something. And if we are kind of like trying to find a utility for an NFT, the easier thing is really the digital twin, because I give you an NFT, you are going to have the opportunity to redeem your physical merch or your physical item. At the same time, you have got access. You have got a digital asset that give you access to different experience. So I think that was, and it still is, the easier utility of NFT. So we are kind of in a transition where we are exploring what NFTs can unlock as a key. But definitely the digital, I think, is still the main use case, because, I mean, we are still really much attached to the physical world. And I think, is a big part of it, definitely.
That's it, yeah, exactly. Another interesting game mechanic, I suppose, when it comes to NFTs, you can play on the rarity of NFTs with games as well. So you can make a certain number of items available in your massively multiplayer game that only a certain number of people can acquire to unlock maybe part of the gameplay. And of course,
exactly,
once they've played it, what do they do with their NFT? They can sell it. Somebody can defeat them in combat, obtain it, and then carry on playing the game in that way. So I think that's a useful
100%. But also, picking up on what you're saying, is also getting more of the gaming community to collaborate, because when you're kind of going out the game and going out of that game environment, and you allow other people actually to come in, take the NFT for that game assets, right? Take it as an NFT. Now I can level up because I'm a master in that, for example, and then being able to level it up, for example, that team, and then that can be brought back into the game. So it allows also, it strengthens the gaming community, I think. Just pushing the boundaries of the game environment, that is great, and maybe has got a nice ethos as well. But if you kind of push the boundary and you allow to go out, I think it will get some interesting also connection, conversation within the game community, if that kind of makes sense to you, right? Because it allows other people to interact and unlock more dynamics within the game and within the game assets as well. So I think it's good also for the gaming community, to be honest, to just get out of the closed game community in a way and onboard something that might be a bit unknown, a bit different, but it could be quite interesting as well to kind of push innovation in the gaming industry. And I think that's what we should be talking about. I mean, there are so many people out there at this conference, and I see the most are the game studio, which is great. But when you say blockchain and NFTs, some people say, "Oh no." And they've got all this preconception about this is bad. We don't want to have anything to do. It's like talking to maximalists when you go to crypto conference and you talk to somebody Bitcoin. Oh no, a part of Bitcoin, we don't want to know anything about it because they just focus on Bitcoin and the rest is is shit basically. But it's not. And in a way, experimentation is driving innovation. So exploring opportunities that you can offer something new. And also, you will also help games to onboard more different kind of users as well. A different type of user that's got perhaps a different kind of incentives that might just be taking an asset, level it up, and just bring it back in for somebody else to play with. So I find it amusing, really. And yeah. Any other question, please? I want to hear from you.
Somebody else. I can't hog the mic all day.
I really want to hear from you. Don't worry, anything that you want to say, even a comment.
Well, what about the people who say a lot of we talked about there would say, well, you can do that with just a traditional database within your game. I mean, what's the value of the blockchain on top of that?
What do you mean with a database?
Well, for example, talking about leveling up, even rarity of items, that could be controlled by the game via the developer's own database that they control, basically. What would the value of the blockchain be in those circumstances? Yeah, but that is still again a closed community, and it's all about access, right? So I think what blockchain gives is really giving access to different players that goes outside the small community or database of a game. And also there will be interesting, we talk about interoperability. There are different ways that perhaps games can partner up and create different experience that goes across games without being part of a studio where you can just interact with the games that are part of the studio. So I think it opened up access, which is very valuable, I think.
It feels like a lot of the conversations that we're having around this are in how they can benefit individual players taking individual actions.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about a particular player maybe acquiring an item and then selling it on a marketplace. But is there not a kind of expectation that it will tend towards very few individuals or players or even companies actually benefiting from this rather than like a casual individual players, the ones that are really going to be taking something out of this experience? Or is it realistically going to be whales, individuals who kind of scrape off the top, or even companies that come along and benefit from it?
I think that is a risk, like it is a risk with any proof of stake, for example, any blockchain that is proof of stake. You always have who else they're kind of driving the price, for example. But the access is actually to everyone. So I see what you mean. And obviously we are not trying to build that for whales. We are trying to build for everyone. But yes, that's really a risk, like it is in any kind of like proof of stake, for example, and is less perhaps on Bitcoin. But yeah, it's still, if you own more, then you are probably In a way, it's kind of like we are trying to get, with all the digital economy stuff, right? We are trying to get away from centralization. You can get away from that from a certain level, but there will still be people they own more. They can drive the narrative more than the smaller one. But the smaller one will still have a window to do it. And if you are really good, sometimes the talent can really play in your favor and maybe get you more towards the kind of whales. So yes, it is a fair point, and I agree with you. And there is nothing else that we can do. But I think what we are trying to build is really for everyone, for any kind of player, and then it will be available for everyone, really.
Yeah, it just sort of feels like there's a potential that it's kind of de-democratizing games, and that what will happen is you're kind of sending your players who you're trying to bring into your game to have a good experience, and then you're allowing them out into this open marketplace where they're going to get just bullied and pushed around by much bigger players that have way more power and control over the market and the value of assets that you've created.
Okay. Let's go back on that, because it's a point. So if I'm a player, right, I'm good in my game, and I build a cricket team that is okay, right? At some point I want to monetize it, but I will probably go back into it maybe at some stage. So I sell it, and then I make money out of it, right? I'm not pushed anywhere. I actually just got the opportunity to sell it. And I know what you mean, because that was the argument that some people were against NFT, they were really saying. And then when I want to come back, and I can just buy the team that I want, or I can buy something. And I know maybe the price has been driven by some kind of Wells game, and I mean that's not something that we can do. It will probably be a risk. I mean, it's just out there. I mean, the price of the asset will be the price that will be on the NFT marketplace. Okay. We are not going to do anything about the price. Is that what you are concerned about it?
Yeah, it's just a kind of, who is this going to benefit? It's quite clear how it could benefit developers and game makers in being able to make more money.
Yeah.
It's quite clear how it could benefit people who are seeking to profit off of it, and who want to buy assets and kind of watch the way that the market goes and then make a profit. But the broad base of people who just want to play the game, it seems less clear that they're going to benefit from it in meaningful ways. And I think that's how it's being sold, is we're kind of talking about the opportunities for individual players to level up and earn a skin and then be able to sell it. But realistically, it doesn't feel like it's actually going to benefit those players, or that they're going to make up a broad part of the audience's players that are kind of passionate and interested in the game, and passionate and interested in kind of this marketplace and the selling of whatever asset it might be.
I mean, they're going to be exposed to a risk of, price. But it's not they can't benefit. I mean, it is a fair point. I agree with you. But I think blockchain definitely offer benefit for game developers in able to monetize, and also to players, although there are risks they can face, maybe more than if you are in a game, but you are not going to be able to monetize your assets anyway. So maybe you need to sell when you want to get out of the game and you don't want to play anymore. I mean, that's also a possibility. At least you have got the option. Otherwise, you won't have it. I mean, it's an interesting debate. That's why I wanted to know more about what you think. So you're kind of like open-minded or exploring, no?
Okay. Full disclosure, I do work for a blockchain company. So.
Okay.
And
Which one?
Engine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the platform developer for Engine Platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very much engaged in this conversation about how marketplaces work, prices, all that kind of stuff. I agree. It's
there is a risk. I mean, you are bringing a fair point, but there is nothing that we can stop to because we are just building an API. But you know, it's a very interesting aspect.
Yeah. So things like the Square Enix thing I mentioned there, they've had basically it's an add-on to their physical product. You know, you can buy an extra 200 yen or whatever it is, and you get the NFT that then unlocks whatever the content they have within the game. So that's for them how it works. They're not expecting people to then sell those on. That's just an add-on for the player to have, to own, to say, look, I've got this thing. And there's a lot of use cases around that which don't involve selling your assets on a marketplace and then being subject to the speculative nature that then brings. So yeah, I think when I'm looking at it, I'm looking more for game mechanics, use cases that don't involve necessarily trying to make profit on your gaming items. You know, moving in between chains, moving between games, that's fine. You know, why does it have to go on a marketplace? We can just transfer. I want to take it out of this game and I want to play it in this other game. I mean, that's the kind of utility I'm looking at.
I think there are probably opportunity to limit that issue within the marketplace. If it's a way that there is fair value, that there is no manipulation. I think there are ways to avoid manipulation, like there is in the current financial market, and they implement all different kind of rules and dynamics to avoid that. And I think that is definitely possible. Perhaps it's more down to, it could be perhaps down to which marketplace we are going to be using and how you create that kind of relationship, bearing in mind that is a risk, and try to limit as much as you can. I think you can limit it, but you can't. I mean, at this stage, I find it very difficult to kind of take off the risk completely.
Hello, if I'm allowed to speak, because I'm just like a volunteer here. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned that there was like potential regarding like community building.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to ask a bit more information about that, because I'm a little concerned that like how NFTs work, where they're sort of like individualized, I guess. I don't know how else to phrase it. Where it's just one NFT is just the one thing. If there would be issues with kind of people either kind of like just buying out everything and just kind of like hogging it and just sort of like being the best player ever by just having the best sword and the best shield, for instance, if it's like World of Warcraft, and then just kind of holding that and no one else can have it because that means they get to win the game because they have those after and help them play the game. And like how like developers would deal with that traditionally is just by having where everything is just infinite. So sort of you go into that dungeon in World of Warcraft, everyone gets the same sword when they've completed it because that's just the reward. But how, maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way, but like how I feel that if that's how it gets taken, if it just like everyone gets an NFT, wouldn't that be kind of hyperinflationary? And if that's not how it works, kind of like what stops people from like the first batch of players grabbing everything and then it's just all in their hands and it's sort of they buy and sell it to the new players. So, and wouldn't that kind of like make things a bit more insular as a result?
Yeah. So with Spin Cricket, the way that we are building it and we see it, you don't need to do the NFT piece if you don't want to. You can still play within the games in the normal setting, right? You just have the opportunity to sell the NFT if you want to. But it's not that otherwise there won't be a game. So maybe some people, they don't want to do the NFT. It doesn't really matter. We just we add that as another layer of monetization. But we are not taking off the other the normal game dynamics.
Okay, so what is the NFT in the game setting then?
So in the game, in the spin cricket, there won't be any NFT. The game has got game assets. So the game will be on Apple Store and doesn't have any NFT. But there will be an option for player to, because the game is connected to our API of Gamebridge, to export the team, put it on a marketplace, let's say Binance, I'm just saying Binance marketplace, and then sell it and monetize that. So the game, it won't have any crypto, but there is a gateway where gamers can sell their assets. Because otherwise you will have even problem with Apple Store, because it won't allow you to do NFT and all this kind of.
I get that, but doesn't that mean that that cricket player is that the only way you can have that cricket? Like if you sold your NFT, then would you no longer have that cricket player?
Exactly.
So doesn't that mean that they are both one and the same in a sense?
The one that you have exported, yes, it will become an NFT.
But what I mean is that, doesn't that mean that the in-game version of that cricket player, isn't that, if they're tied to that NFT, isn't that, I'm not seeing where where that separation is?
The in-game will become an NFT. So the in-game will disappear.
Okay, so so no one would be able to use that in-game then?
Exactly. That specific one that you have exported, yes.
So when someone else buys the NFT,
yes,
sort of trade that in for the cricket player that you have.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's just then what's the motivation of exporting it out of the game then?
If you don't want to play anymore, and maybe you want to just make money.
Yeah, it's to profit off of it.
Yeah, a profit.
I suppose.
Yeah, I know, maybe not everybody is interested in getting out of the game, but some people would.
It's either you've played a bunch of the game and then you want to profit off all the time that you've spent playing the game by selling the stuff once you stop playing it, or you're just playing it for the sake of profiteering, kind of because you know that these things might be worth something. I guess are the two kind of use cases. So
okay, and then who would buy it then? Was that just people that are just doing the NFT market, or just playing the NFT market? Is that just the people who would be buying that stuff then?
Ideally, I think everybody that wants to play the game.
So there would be an option to import it back into the game then?
Yes. So when he's in the, okay, so then let's say you sold your player, okay? Now he's an NFT, you took the money, right, and you put it up in is on Binance NFT marketplace. Somebody else want to play the game and want to use your player because you are good, and so they just buy off you, and they re-import it into the game, and now that is going to become their assets. So that will be reactivated within the game. Before it wasn't available because you were going to sell it. When you sold it, you got your money, and the game, the player will come back into the game, but will be owned by somebody else.
Yeah, if I can just interjected here a bit, it might help. But I don't know if anyone saw the farming simulator talk yesterday, which is really interesting. But they have a similar kind of thing. They have a very big modding community. So they've got the game, they make a bunch of assets for the game, but they also have a load of content creators out there who are just making assets, tractors, animals, whatever. And they put them on essentially their in-house marketplace, and they sell these things. And that's how some people are practically doing full-time job, just creating mods and assets for farming simulator, putting it on the marketplace. People buy it because they like it. They want to play with that piece of machinery or whatever. They put it in the game, and that's it. So it's just the same kind of thing, but just taken into sort of the crypto world. In that same thing, I think it sounds like we're doing here. You know, somebody's gone in, they've spent time creating a team, cricket team. They go, right, I'm happy with that. Somebody else might like this. They're going to put it on a marketplace. Somebody else would buy it because they like it and want to play with that team. And then the person who's just done that probably want to do it again, maybe, because now they can just keep churning out teams and keep selling them. So some people might be happy to have a little side venture in cricket team authoring, content creation, essentially, just in the crypto space rather than on a in-house internal, should we say, centralized database.
Yeah, but isn't how, like, I don't actually know about the farming simulator. I'm basing this off of my thoughts on this based on Flight Simulator, which does a very similar thing. But isn't that based on the fact that it's not crypto at all, and it's just kind of like, it's just infinite of that thing?
Yeah, in the case of things like Farming Simulator and Flight Simulator, yeah, that would be what you call a fungible token, and that you can just keep minting more and more of the same thing. I think what we're talking about NFTs is that, you know, each one's a bit different. Each one can be unique, and there's only one of them. So which one do you want to buy? It's, you know, look at the stats for the players. You know, which one fits your needs, and can you acquire them?
We have got one question that I wanted the lady behind.
Thank you. Yeah, basically 2 questions. So we've seen NFT already on the market for a while, and from perspective of illustration, art in general. So how is it would be different? Like, since it's asset, so it's also like images, right? What is the significant difference between like already selling images and images as part of the game? It's one thing. Another, how it will be, how monetization and like price will be created. Because, for example, if in illustration or fine art, like we can we value the actual artistic value, right, or merit, but would it be as a part of the game, for example, value of how much it's profitable for the game? Yes, like how much points you get, like using it, how much value it will be as like how often it appears in the game. Maybe it's like not valuable, but just very common. So how the price will be created? What is the values in there?
I think the way that we are going to start, a player start pricing that is also about the rarity, exactly what you were saying. So each NFT has got unique characteristic. So that way, so each rarity or each achievement will value the NFT a certain level, and then you keep building up based on what the NFT allows you to basically unlock. For example, so there are different traits in an NFT, different features, if we want to call different properties. They are based on different aspects that you achieve in the game, and they will make the NFT value. And that what is going to be driving the, kind of like the base of the pricing.
So basically, it's how much they're practical for the gaming. Yes, for the game. How much value they have in the game.
Sorry?
How much value they have in the game while playing.
That's what is going to have, yeah, as the price for that somebody can sell. It's the same thing. We are not trying to make it more speculative in the game that people can just put a price at the top of their head. It will basically be driven by the dynamic and the achievement that a player reach in the game.
There's also another interesting one here. There's also provenance of that item that you want to acquire. Something that we've thought about is, what if you've watched your favorite Twitch streamer play with this item on a live stream? It's been upgraded. They've played with it for a number of hours, and you watch them. You want that because of the story behind it, and that happens in the real life as well. People buy books because somebody owned it, whatever. So maybe there's that contributes to the value of something because of the provenance of who built it, or they watched it on the stream being created there and then, and something like that. So there's that, I suppose.
I'm really sorry, but I think we've overrun pretty massively.
Sure. Okay. Anyway, thank you everyone for interacting, and I appreciate the feedback and all very good point. Anybody interested in join the beta test? You have my email there. Just feel free to reach out for anything. Thank you.